Hey guys, welcome back to Ambitious Job Seekers. So today we'll learn some more important Selenium interview questions. So let's get started. Starting with the first question, what are the different types of navigation commands? What are the main things that we do in a browser? We go back, we go forward, we refresh a page. For all this, Selenium has given us commands to navigate to and fro. The first one is navigate.to. This command lets the user to launch a new web browser window and navigate to the specified URL. The command is driver.navigate.to and then you mention the URL. Since I have given google.com, it takes me to the Google web page. The next is navigate.forward. This method does the same operation as clicking on the forward button. It takes us to the next web page. The command for this is driver.navigate.forward. Next one is navigate.back. This command requires no parameters and takes back the user to the previous web page. The command for this is driver.navigate.back. The next is navigate.refresh. This method refreshes the current web page. The command is driver.navigate.refresh. Moving on to the next question. Write syntax for XPath and CSS if ID and tag name is given. So the primary difference between XPath and CSS selector is with the XPath we can traverse both forward and backward, whereas CSS selector only moves forward. So if I want to write a syntax for XPath using ID and tag name, it would be /tag name @ID equals to value. But if I want to write the same syntax using CSS, I don't need to give the /. It will be tag name ID equals to value. So while using CSS, we can skip both @ and /. The next question is how to use text and contains method to locate a web element in Selenium Webdriver. With the text function, we can find the element with exact text match. For example, if I want to click on the button submit, then I can use the syntax /tag name text equals to submit. This way I can easily locate the submit button. There's another method called as contains. This is used when the value of any attribute changes dynamically. Contain feature has the ability to find the element with just the partial text. Question. How to type in a text box using Selenium? And the answer is send keys. Send keys is a method in Selenium that allows to type the content automatically into an editable field while executing the test. Let's see the below example to understand the syntax. To log into a portal, I need user ID and password. So firstly, I need to locate the web element. I have used ID as the locator and used send keys to enter the string seekers. While I'm executing the test, I can see seeker is getting written in the password text box. And now we'll learn how to get a text of a web element. Get command is used to retrieve the inner text of the specified web element. This command does not require any parameter, but it returns a string value. It is also one of the extensively used command for the verification of messages, labels, errors, etc. displayed on the web pages. The syntax for this command is .getText. The next one is how can we find if an element is displayed on the screen? WebDriver facilitates the user with the following methods to check the visibility of the web elements. These web elements can be button, drop-downs, checkboxes, radio buttons, labels, etc. So there are three ways to check the visibility of the web element. The first one is displayed, the next is selected, and the third is enabled. Starting with the first one, is displayed. This method verifies if a certain element is present and displayed. If the element is displayed, then the value returned is true. The syntax for this method is .isDisplayed. The next is selected. This method is used to verify if the web element is selected or not. This method is often used on radio buttons, checkboxes, or options in a menu. The syntax for this method is .isSelected. And the last is enabled. This method verifies if an element is enabled. The syntax for this method is .isEnabled. And now we will see how to select a value in a drop-down. WebDriver provides us three ways to select an option from the drop-down menu. Select by index, select by value, and select by visible text. Starting with the first one, select by index. It is used to select an option based on its index value. Index always begins with 0. The syntax for this method is dropdown dot select by index and then you mention the index number. The next is select by value. It is used to select an option based on its value attribute. The syntax is dropdown dot select by value and then you mention the value. And the last is select by visible text. It is used to select an option based on the text over the option. The syntax for this is dropdown dot select by visible text and then you mention the visible text. Moving on to the next question. When do we use findElement and findElements? FindElement. This method is used to find the first element in the current web page matching to the specified locator. Here, the first matching element would be fetched. The findElement method throws no such element exception when the element is not available on the web page. The next is findElements. FindElements is used to find all the elements in the current web page matching to the specified locator value. Here, all the matching elements would be fetched and stored in the list of web elements. The findElements method returns an empty list when the element is not available or does not exist on the web page. The next question is how to maximize and minimize browser window. To maximize a browser window, we need to call the maximize method. This method is used to maximize the current browser. The syntax is driver.manage.window.maximize. Now, how do we minimize the browser window? Selenium does not have a functionality to minimize the browser window. If the browser window is minimized, some mouse-related operation will fail. That's why Selenium does not support minimizing the browser window. And the last question is, can WebDriver test mobile applications? And the answer is no. Selenium WebDriver does not support mobile applications. Appium, which is an automation tool, is used for running the script and testing applications and mobile web applications on Android or iOS using a WebDriver.